In this quick video, I'll show you how I would work through a discursive response using the 2023 HSC Module C question. So it came with an extract that was all about a bird tweeting at 4 a.m. in the morning and how that gave the voice of the piece some sense of hope that all would be okay. And the question was a 12-8 split, so 12 for the written piece, the creative piece, and then an 8 for the reflection. And it came with a specific question to ensure really that students are not regurgitating works that somebody else has written for them or that they've practiced over and over again at home. They really do want you to be thinking on your feet. And so the question specified that you needed to write either an imaginative or a discursive that included hope that comes with anticipation. So if I was going to go with a discursive response in this exam, the first thing I would do is I would think that is the key word hope, as is anticipation. So I'd circle those. And as we always do, we come up with synonyms. It just helps us to give vocabulary and scope, different language to use as we are thinking through the question. So hope is maybe faith. Hope is a sense that something good is coming. It's positivity. It's belief. Anticipation, excitement. Enthusiasm, perhaps. Suspense. When you're doing a discursive too, it doesn't harm you to think through the opposites. So we can, when we're writing a discursive, go with the corollary, the opposite. So for hope, the opposite of that is usually a bit of despair, maybe disillusionment, might be fear, being faithless, etc. Same with anticipation. I can go here, I'll write it over here. If you're not anticipating something, then you might be bored, things might be dull, dreary, etc. Then you move your paper up. Where's that? Wait a minute. And then the beauty of the discursive piece is that you can flit from one thing to another. So really and truly you brainstorm everything that comes to mind. And if you've got what I call a popcorn brain, which is a brain that's very good at coming up with random ideas on the spot, then you can go through this process that I'm doing. Not all of us have that brain. Some of us are more methodical, and I'll show you a different way if you are the more linear, sensible type. So, hope and anticipation or despair. So if I'm thinking, first of all, I want to use the extract. That was about birds. So I'm going to go with birds. I'm going to think about the fact that they're winged and that they suggest freedom and liberation. So I might include a little beautiful piece about how I saw the other day, an anecdote, a beautiful flock of rosellas. I didn't really, I'm just making it up. But we want to make sure that we're showing the examiner, yes, we're using the stimulus. We might even make it 4 a.m. as that's what the writer in the extract said. Okay, hope. What on earth is hope, and what can we say about it when we're writing a discursive piece that flits from one thing to another? All right, I once knew a girl called Hope, and I thought it was an interesting name to give a child because of its association with all of these beautiful things, that things are opening up, that things are becoming positive and lovely. It's a girl's name. And I might think, just to be funny, well, actually that girl was in fact the most negative person I've ever met. So I might say she was in fact a negative Nelly. And I'm just thinking through these things on the spot. Some of the ideas will be stupid and we can get rid of them, that's not a problem. But humour is a good thing to use in a discursive piece. When I think too about hope, I might think of, it's all about the future. That makes me think about New Year's resolutions. And how we set them every year, and so often we disappoint. In fact, I'm going to write all about New Year's Eve as a celebration that is all based on hope. So I could conjure there a big party scene. When I'm thinking too, continuing to think a little bit about, need more whiteboard there. Thinking about things that bring hope. Okay, so sport, for example. Every time we go to watch sport, we're all in great hope that our team is going to win. So I might include the Euros at the moment, the football. I know that Portugal and Spain played last night, and I could write about the various hopes that hung on Ronaldo's shoulders and Messi's shoulders. And I could write a lovely piece there, a little section about how with bated breath, each side, whether you're on the Spanish side or the Portuguese side, you are hoping for a win, and your whole evening is going to be determined by whether your team scores or not. And everywhere around the world, every weekend, there's this kind of hope brought about by sport. Another thing that's just come to my mind when we're talking about hope is investment. When we're making investments, we are very hopeful that something good is going to come out of it. So I might think about the stock market. I might write about the ASX. I might write about, that also makes me think very quickly of gambling and how all of gambling is based on hope. A hope that we might win. So I might include reference to the lotto. That makes me think of my nana and granddad who used to go down every week and put their numbers in and sit by the television as the numbers would come up in the hope that they might be millionaires one day. Makes me think too of education. If anybody's getting educated, they are investing in a hope for something better. So I might talk or write about education, about uni degrees, and how they are aimed at giving people hope that they might get into the field that they want to. I might think about small businesses and how every time you walk past a little restaurant, that is somebody's hope that they're going to be able to make it into something that they love, but also that is profitable. And then of course the sadness that can come when you see one that hasn't, it's got to close its doors and so forth. I might think of restaurants or even small business. Now, if that wasn't enough, it is enough, it's more than enough. But if it wasn't enough, I could go with the corollary, the opposite of hope. And I could think about all of the things that happen when somebody, or as a group, or as a nation, or even globally, we become hopeless. And I could write about, on the flip side, when we are without hope, we are despairing. And I could think of all sorts of literary references, like straight away I've come to think of Macbeth, when Lady Macbeth commits suicide. So I might do it. So I've got all those ideas there. I'll write it over here. So I don't lose those, because I will actually write this discursive piece just for fun. If I was going with the flip side of despair over here, I can think of Lady Macbeth's death and how that affects Macbeth, and how he carries on about feeling that life is just tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow. Oh damn, just got ink everywhere. I could think about how when we're hopeless, we lack motivation. In fact, it's hope that motivates us entirely, which is an interesting thing. Everything is about hope. When we are hopeless, we are depressed, just like Macbeth. When we are without hope, we do nothing. Everything seems worthless or pointless. If we think about having no faith, I could discuss here what life would be like or what the world would be like without religion. And that when we have hope, makes me think of heaven over here. I'm going to add that over there. When we think of a life or a life lived without any belief in the afterlife, and again, of course, a discursive piece, you're just pondering all these things. We're not trying to convert anyone to a particular religion, but we might be just pondering what it might mean to live a life without faith and how life would change if we didn't have hope in a heaven or an afterlife. So you can see there, I've got more than enough to write in, what was it? In 24 minutes, because it was a 12-8 split. I'd spend 24 minutes on this crafting of the discursive piece. And I would literally look at my brainstorm, and anything that I thought was stupid, I'd just cut it off, like that's a dumb idea. We all have dumb ideas when we're brainstorming. That's the point of brainstorming. But when you see all your ideas there, some sort of structure will come out of it for you. So for me, this thing about hope, once knowing a girl whose mother called her Hope, and then the irony and the humour of the fact that in fact she was the most negative Nelly that I'd ever met, I'd start with that to engage my reader. Then I might go over to Euros because it's a current affairs topic that might also engage my reader. I might then go to the birds, and I could literally just go like this. Number one, yeah, I'm going to deal with that. Oh yeah, birds in the morning, a symbol of hope. Over to the Euros, hope. Down to the investing in the stock market and how we're all hopeful of that. Then I'll go down to lottery because that's similar to the stock market. Maybe then down to here about the restaurants or small businesses. Maybe I'll just go with small businesses, it's wider. And then I might finish with this idea. I might make a joke about the fact that New Year's is coming and we all make our New Year's resolutions in the hope that the following year will be better. It's probably enough for 24